We cleared Niconana 100% of the time. My levels are all hilariously low. This is hopefully showing you that you can beat Inferno with a trash modules. Welcome back. This is Teaching Turtle with another Etheria restart video. Today we have an episode in the beginner series focusing on how to defeat Niconana Inferno. Right, one of the most important Infernos to beat, the first Inferno you will tackle. Right, as you can see, I have my win rate here on my current team, which I've purposely not improved yet to show you how I might do this. So this is my current team comp. It's okay, but it's not the best. Right here we can see I have my Lily here on a Gigabyte, Lilium on a very mediocre White Fang, and if you look at my modules, it might look fancy, but I'm really just getting Onslaught 12, Swift Rush 8. With the Ling Low, I have actually some pretty decent gear, but the tuning is all over the place, right? And so it's not actually going to be too helpful in this. You want it to be a lot faster. And then Plume here is kind of middling gear as well, not a great artisan, right? Now, one of the important things is making sure that we read the mechanics of the boss and also speed tune our team correctly, right? So first, read the mechanics. The boss mechanics here says Niconana has a passive damage reduction. If we start the fight, we can actually read her passives here, right? You can click and hold on, or just click on the buffs here, or you can go to the buff tab, and we can see all the possible skills the enemy can use and their cooldowns. What we see here is Friendly Match passive as a damage reduction. She starts with 60% extra damage reduction, which is reduced by an extra 1.5% for every 1 additional speed the attacker possesses compared to the unit. Which means that if Niconana has a speed buff on her right now, then you will deal less damage to her. If your speed was already really low, you'll deal less damage. And if you get a speed up buff from yourself or speed down buff on her, then you'll be doing more damage, right? Or at least full damage potentially. And so what happens here is that we need to make sure we have our speed correct. If we don't have the speeds correct, we'll never beat this boss, right? If we can't get rid of this speed up attack up, we can't get our own speed up on our own units, then we are never going to deal enough damage to do this reliably. Now, obviously, if you're fast enough to just have all 4 units go before her, then the dungeon becomes a piece of cake. But you're not going to have that gear early on, so what can we do? Instead, we can try a different composition. So instead of using Plume, right, who can only dispel 1 time on her first turn, right, we want someone who can dispel more frequently, right? So instead, you might be able to use Viper, right? Or you can just use Plume still as a defense down, but her job isn't really the dispelling at that point. Right? Viper is really good in this dungeon, specifically because he has the counterattack and S3, which can apply buffs and dispel buffs. Additionally, he reduces the damage you take from critical hits, right? Which means that you're going to be able to survive for a bit longer. Okay. Meanwhile, Lilium already has her own speed up, so you don't actually need Lily here. Right? Lily applies a speed up, but it's kind of a doubled up buff. Right? Lily obviously is still very good and can definitely be part of your team comp, but maybe for me, maybe that's not the best. Right? In fact, maybe Plume instead for the defense down and just have Lilium have her own speed could be pretty good. And I just have to make sure the Plume is faster. Right? Other considerations are having that Ling Low go earlier, so that if Ling Low is stunned, then who cares? Not that big of a deal. If anyone else was stunned that is critical to the buffs and debuffs, then Ling Low can cleanse early. Right, so that is some considerations here I have for the fight. Right. And here we can also look at some other potentially good units. Right. So we have the main DPS, right? And then you have the speed manipulators, as well as Viper can dispel and make you survive a bit better. We have these survival units, especially Kachi, right? Kachi is really nice because he can increase the duration of your buffs, right? As well as apply immunity if you give him enough effect accuracy. And so Kachi is really good if he's your first unit to similarly defend against all the stuns that the ads are going to give you. Likewise, Fiamelia can be a decent option in order to decrease how much to cleanse and also to heal up. Right? As well as if you put any cleanser on an Alicorn, right, then you can make sure that you are always cleansing those stuns no matter what. Right? Valerian is slightly worse a pick here, right, than previous dungeons, just because she doesn't have as much direct impact. Right? All the shields are still very, very nice, right? and getting the miscellaneous buffs from Hazy Dream can still be very valuable if you get enough buffs to get to the higher quality buffs. The attack is not going to be as critical, but if we look at the skill proper, or the buff proper, you can get speed and crit up if you get enough of those buffs. Right, so that's another way to possibly get a speed up. Right? Additionally, you can have some damage buffers and debuffers. Right? So Santic, Nymphonial, Dyna, and Beontin are also all good for the defense down or increased damage kind of a role. Right? And do note that with our current Infernos, right? Infernos will be doing extra damage to enemies of the opposite or weak element. And so basically, you will not be allowed to use any green characters, which is especially bad for Bornova, unless you're fast enough or you somehow just have a I don't die ability. Right? So it's unlikely that you want to use Bornova for your farming team unless you're a lot faster. Now, Bornova can still be used in case you have nothing else, but then you probably would need to run the Valerian and kill the boss down super quickly. So it's very not recommended to be using Bornova in this case. Right? If you have no other options, just use Didding. Didding is going to be absolutely fine, actually really good. Probably better than my Lilium right now, because my Lilium is 115. Yeah. So I'm going to take a break and then see what build I can cook up and see if that makes a difference. Alright, I'm back after making another terrible team, but we can see we have a higher win rate here of 4 wins and 4 losses. Wait, why am I celebrating over 4 wins, 4 losses? Well, let's look at what team I have cooked up. So if we go back into the dungeon, right, we can see that I have the same units from before, right, of Plume, Lilium, Linglo, Viper. Right? My levels are all hilariously low. Right? Plume level 21, Linglo level 2. I think she leveled up naturally from that. Viper level 1. And if we see what their modules are, right? Here I gave my Gigabyte over to Viper. Artisan's probably going to be better for survivability. You might see, wait, I'm using all these triple matrix. Well, my matrix that are actually activated is just Swift Rush 12 and Time Weave 6. So you can do that with a 3-3 shell and just like 2 modules, 2 matrix modules, except for maybe a couple. And so this is not a very good matrix set, and obviously I have a few level 1s as well. The attack bonus is absolutely worthless, right? Here, the effect accuracy is worth it, and I do have a nice bit of speed there. But you can get this, a module like this, from clearing Niconana Hell 2 for the very first time. The first time clear reward in the event tab can give you a module like that. Right. So nothing too fancy there. Linglo, I just changed her out to have more speed, right? And I actually decreased all these as well. So I made these even worse, right? Flat HP, level 1, right? But it's working out. And then the Plume, I gave one of them over to the Viper, so I have less effect accuracy now. But overall, still nothing amazing. I think it's literally just the Swift Rush right now. All right, Lilium, exact same as before. Right, so the win rate is increased significantly. And what lattice did I even need to use on this entire team? I put Lilium 4 lattice there, and I have Viper 4 lattice in the S3. So I use 4 purple lattice, 4 gold lattice. Right, now you could, instead of Lilium, just use Didding. Pretty much the same exact thing. Right, Didding's actually going to do more damage than my 115 Lilium. And so this team comp can easily clear for your first time, and you can put it on auto, it's totally fine, winning enough, right? So obviously this isn't the best, and if we even look at the speed tuning, then we can see that it is not absolutely great anyways. Okay. So, oh, the Plume got stunned. I'm not able to cleanse fast enough. All my stuff is working in the wrong orders, but it's still good enough to win at a 3% win rate. Right? Now, obviously, this gear is bad on purpose. Right? You can definitely clear this using random gear you have, right? Random shells you have, as long as you're playing smart, as long as you're using the right units and learning what the mechanics actually are. Right? So just make sure that you're using some good units, right? Make sure you're using 1 main DPS at least. You could do 2. You have at least 1 speed manipulation, a speed up or speed down, right? Preferably both. And you can opt for more survivability early on, Or later on when you do farming clears, you can just go straight balls to the walls, DPS with damage buffers or double DPS, right? So you can go like Lily, Plume, Lilium, and Didding, and that can also be a decent comp if you're fast enough. Right? So this is all to show that you do not need amazing gear. You can definitely still clear with some pretty terrible stats. And the Onslaught is doing some heavy lifting here with the healing, but Lilium also has a healing of her own, right? From the S1 that I can't click on now because she did. But throughout all this, even if you have absolutely terrible stats, right, you can still clear Niconana, right? And once you have the better stuff, then you can actually clear much more easily. So now I'm going to do another jump and see if I can make it 100% win rate with the same units. And there we have it. We cleared Niconana 100% of the time using only very slight upgrades from what I had before. So let's go ahead and look at the upgrades that I made. Here's the team, and we can see that I have just a bit better modules, upgraded a few random things just to get some more bulk here. Additionally, I got the second Artisan, which is quite nice to improve the reliability of the shields so I don't get one-shotted randomly. And then the other big thing is getting Plume acting before the Lilium. Right? And that's really about it. Like I changed the shell here, and I actually got weaker, I think. I got 5 more speed just from upgrading the shell, but then I lost out on the as much Swift Rush, so I actually lost speed from losing Swift Rush 12 or Swift Rush 8. So, but overall, just making the Plume faster, even with like random other stats, and it just worked out. So this is hopefully showing you that you can beat Inferno with a trash modules, right? And basically characters that are guaranteed to get from the Plume banner, right? From the Lilium selector, the LD selector box. Right? So very easy to clear Infernos as long as you just have the right team comp, right? You don't need the Plume, right? The Plume is nice for the defense down. Like if you have Kethos, you can use Kethos instead, and Kethos can steal the turn of Niconana. You can use Lily instead. You can use Raymary as a second DPS, right? You can have Val as some more buffs. So you can use a bunch of various things. Nymphonia is another good one, right? So you can basically use like anything here. You don't need to use any specific team comp for Niconana, but this is just showing that really, as long as you're thinking about what the mechanics are and countering that specifically, then you can deal with the boss. Right? As for an exact number, you want your DPS to have around 180 to 200 speed. That way, when you increase that by your speed buff of 30%, right, you can get to about 260 speed. Right? When you have 260 speed, then you are, I think you're able to deal full damage to Niconana, assuming she doesn't have any speed up, or you have a speed down to counter her speed up, because that would be 40 speed over her. Enough. All right. So there you go. Right. Trash units, 5-star level 1s, and it's still able to clear your first Inferno. Right. Take care. See you guys in the next one.